What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Crush City Territory. I'm Chandler Rome, joined by Tyler Stafford, who is laughing at me because we had to do this. We had to take this twice because the first time we tried to do this, I had something caught in my throat. I just had a very fit of coughing, so we had to stop. But here we are. We're back on track somehow, just like the Astros, who took 3 of 4 from the Detroit Tigers here in Detroit at Comerica Park this weekend to cap a 5-2 road trip through Toronto and Detroit. They are 2 games below 500. They are a half game back of the third wild card spot, which means, well, I didn't think we'd be saying that this soon. They are a game and a half back of the Texas Rangers, who are winning the American League West somehow after the Mariners just continue to implode on themselves. Tyler, remember like a month ago when I told you, calm down. It's not that bad. No one in the AL is good, and if you squint hard enough, you can see where the path is there for this Astros team to make a run. And I'm not even sure that this is their true run, but they're 23-14 in their past 37 games, which is a 100-win pace. I don't think they're going to stay on a 100-win pace for the remainder of this season, but they're 15-10 in June. They are taking care of teams that, quite frankly, they should be taking care of. The Tigers are not very good, and they won 3 out of 4 games here. The Blue Jays are better than the Tigers, but the Blue Jays did not play well in those 3 games, and the Astros seized advantage of every mistake they had. This is about as much momentum as this team has had since the start of the season. And it's starting, I think, to maybe get to a point where you kind of believe that they've got a true run in them and they can mount a serious run at an American League West that no one wants to win.
Yeah, what you're seeing is the comebacks in the past, they had 2 games in this series that easily could have been losses. And it's games that earlier in the year, they did not have the pitching depth to keep the game close throughout the game, so that when you do score 4 in the 8th inning, like they did the other night, it's enough to take the lead and not to cut a lead from 8 down to 4, right? Like they're able to mount these comebacks later in the games because they're able to keep them, within striking distance. And I think that's the biggest change that you've seen is we know that they have a good enough offense and that they've got the back end of Josh Hader is incredible. Even walking 3 straight guys, he's still able to escape from there. Like they've got the ability to do it. They just have to be able to keep it close. And they weren't able to do that for a long stretch because they just did not have the pitching to do it. And then the pitching that they did have wasn't performing well. AJ Blueball was awful at the beginning of the year, and he's been much better. They've had the ability to stay in these games and stay in these series, and you're seeing it come to fruition. Because again, those are coin flip games. Like they could have easily lost 3 out of 4 to the Tigers, but they didn't, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. Not to quote Dana Brown.
You have the stomach for this too. They seem to have the stomach for this as well.
Never doubted.
They entered this series against the Tigers 2-38 in games that they were trailing after 6 innings. The last 2 games of this series, they won after trailing after 6 innings. So it just goes to show you that there's some things that are just some positive regression to means are happening. Having Josh Hader back is, I think we maybe understated how big that would be when he came back. Hunter Brown obviously didn't pitch well in Toronto. I don't think today had his best stuff either, but got you through 6 innings, should have allowed 2 runs, if not for Reynel Delgado bobbling a ball behind him. And then Reynel Delgado comes up and hits the home run that gets you back into the game. It's these sort of things that like keep a run going, that keep like a good hot momentum stretch going. It's contributions from everyone up and down the roster. Like you look at that game today, and I don't think it got talked about as much as it should, but that catch Bryce Matthews made on Matt Vierling's ball in the 9th inning. I'm not sure if Malgary scores from first on that ball, but if that thing gets down, it's at least 2nd and 3rd with 1 out, and all they have to do is hit a fly ball to the outfield and they win that game. because you're playing at Comerica Park and sacrifice fly. That's a huge outfield, and all you have to do is just get the ball to the outfield, and they win that game. Bryce doesn't make that catch. It's a completely different complexion of that game. And I know, and I said this on X, and I wrote about it a little bit after the game, but I know this outfield has not produced at all offensively. We have discussed that ad nauseum here, but the one thing that they do, they cover some ground and they catch the ball. And the Astros as a team are allowing the third highest fly ball rate in baseball. I think only the A's and the Padres have a higher fly ball rate from their pitching staff than the Astros. The Astros outfield is converting 69.8% of balls in the air into outs. There's only 3 teams that are converting more balls in the air into outs than the Astros, and none of them allow as many fly balls as the Astros do. They've got it no matter who you put out there, whether it's Loperfido, Myers, Cam Smith, Bryce Matthews, Taylor Trammell, like they are all above average to elite defenders. I know they're not getting it done at the plate, and they're going to address that, right? Like the trade deadline is coming, and as I wrote this week, their foremost goal is to get an outfielder in here that can hit. But when you're a team that doesn't have the depth that the Astros, they are a team that doesn't have depth. When you don't have depth, you have got to find every margin, and you've got to find every little way that you can have an advantage. And the Astros have a huge advantage in every game that they play with their outfield defense. And I think it showed today when that Veerling ball, I was watching the ball. I wasn't even watching Bryce, and he just came out of nowhere. I mean, got a great read. I mean, he's one of the fastest guys on the team, one of the most athletic guys on the team. And this was a guy that was playing infield, like when he reported to spring training, and now it's just magically become a very, very good outfielder. That's not easy to do. And it's just one of those little things, this Astros team is not going to maybe out-talent, most other teams that they play. I get they've got Jordan Alvarez, they've got Hunter Brown, Josh Hader, Jose Altuve. Like they've got talent, but 1-26, this is not going to be the most talented roster every time it walks out on the field. But part of when you don't have that, you have to win the margins, and you have to have really good situational awareness and be able to, come up in the clutch, win the big at bats, win the late and clutch and leverage at bats. And it just seems on this run that they've been on in June and even into May when they really started playing well, it just seems like every big at bat they're winning. Every big, their bullpen is getting every big out and in stranding inherited runners. They're getting whoever comes up at the right time is just putting the ball in play. They're doing a lot of little things well, and I think that helps kind of mask their kind of 1-26 lack of just full talent 1-26 on the roster.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, they've been there before. They know how to, win these close games late. They just have to have close games late, and they weren't able to do that for a while. And like you said, I mean, the AL is terrible. I mean, there's one good team, the Yankees, and I don't think you can make a case really for any other scary team in the AL right now. And when you get to the playoffs, the teams that have been there before, there is something that matters about that. And the Astros have more playoff experience than any other roster. They just have to get there. And you said 1.5 back. They're actually only 1 back of the Rangers. They're half game back of a wild card. Like they're right there. And the Rangers are not good. Like that's not a good baseball team either. So I mean, yeah, they just have to keep with it. And a classic example of Hunter Brown being an ace today, like he didn't have his best stuff at all today and still went 6 innings and gave up 2 runs. Like that's the value that Hunter Brown, just an ace brings, where, as we said, you just know you can take a day off if you're in the bullpen. Like he is getting you 6 innings of good baseball 9 times out of 10. And he did it today without his best stuff.
Speaking of that bullpen, they are beaten up. They are overworked, and they don't have an off day until Thursday. So they're going to have to find a way to piece this thing together.
Brother.
They're going to have to find a way to piece this thing together. We'll talk about what's next for the pitching staff and a pretty interesting roster decision that they're going to face right after this message from our friends at FanDuel.
This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Baseball fans, the MLB season is in full swing, and FanDuel is giving you a chance to call your shot with daily dingers. Joining the action is easy. Just make your free pick on who's hitting a home run in their game, and if you're right, you'll get a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. It's just another reason why FanDuel is the home of home runs. So are you ready to play your game? Head over to FanDuel.com/podcast to get started. That's FanDuel.com/podcast to opt in for daily dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball. No purchase necessary. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
I think the other thing we didn't mention, Tyler, is they won 3 of 4 in Detroit this weekend, with Yordan Alvarez being as much of a non-factor as Yordan Alvarez is allowed to be. He did not play on Saturday. He got a day off for his 29th birthday. Happy belated birthday, Yordan, if you are listening. And then in the other 3 games, he didn't get a hit. He drew 2 walks on Sunday, but this is the first stretch of 3 games all season in which Alvarez has gone hitless. So he was not a factor. I mean, obviously, like, they knew where he was and they pitched around him and they pitched him carefully, but he did not make much of an impact on this series. And still the Astros were able to win 3 of 4. I think that's a pretty telltale sign that's a good sign. Obviously, like, look, Yordan's not going to stay down for this long. He's human, as we have discovered. But the fact that they were able to find a way to win without him being a real force is encouraging, and helped that Jeremy Pena continues to very quietly have a very nice return from the injured list. Like, he has been, I know he struck out 4 times today. I say that, on the day he struck out 4 times, but other than that, he's been excellent since he's come off. Isaac Paredes has turned a corner lately, and then Christian Walker was in a brutal 3 for 31 slump. Coming into, I believe, Saturday's game. He had 4 hits on Saturday and then homered off of Kenley Jansen today in the 10th inning to put them ahead for good. But there's something to be said for that. There's something to be said for them doing this with Yordan Alvarez having what they hope is one of his very, very few mini slumps of the season.
Yeah, and I mean, Altuve hasn't been good in a while either, and they're still managing all of this. So, yeah, I mean, again, that's what depth looks like. That was the issue earlier, is that you had so many injuries, you had so many guys not performing, that you had to rely so heavily on 1 or 2 guys, and if that didn't work out, the game was over. And now the Astros have a little bit more of a contingency plan where they are able to overcome, like you said, a non-factor from Yordan. I checked the Baseball Savant top exit velocity, and I think this is the first time I've ever seen a series where even without a hit, Yordan doesn't show up in any of the top exit velocities. And he didn't even hit one that hard. Like, he just didn't have a good series, and they still won 3 of 4. Like, they could not have done that a month ago.
No, they couldn't have. And I just, maybe we didn't talk enough about how much they missed Jeremy Pena, how much, not having Isaac Paredes kind of really get into a groove was hurting them. But since Pena has been back, I think that's kind of been the real spark plug here. Just having him hitting in front of Yordan too, because he's going to be able to see a lot more fastballs. He's going to be able to see a lot more hittable pitches hitting in front of Yordan, just because people don't want to deal with Yordan coming up. So it helps where he's hitting, and it helps that he is hitting. He's flirting with a 300 batting average. He's creeping up on 200 plate appearances and still playing elite defense. Still, they missed him a lot. They missed Jeremy Pena a lot. And now that he is back, I think they're as whole as they are going to be going forward, and that has really helped. So, other stuff that happened this weekend, Tatsuya Imai was good again. Struck out 10 guys. Did he allow a run? No, he threw 6 scoreless innings. He was
He got 16 whiffs.
After getting 20 against the Guardians in his previous start.
14 of 23 swings on his slider were whiffs. 61% of the time someone swung at that slider, they missed. That is absurd.
Did you see the pitching ninja gif about the sliders going two different, like tunneling the same way and then just going two different directions?
I'm not sure I'm comfortable with you being a GIF and an X guy. You're on the wrong side of both of those arguments.
Bear in mind that Baseball Savant doesn't know what to classify Tatsuya Imai's arsenal as. He said after the game in Detroit that he threw about 5 or 7 splitters, and it's all just classified as fastball slider. Like, no one knows how to classify any of his arsenal, so it's why it's difficult to like get on here and talk about, oh, this pitch is doing this for him, because I don't know what they are. And I think he said in Japanese, we didn't get, maybe there was a Japanese reporter in Detroit, and I believe she got this quote. I don't think we got it, but he said something to the effect of, I feel bad for the catcher because I never know where my slider's going to go. Like, I never know where this thing is going to go. And I think that just kind of encapsulates the Tatsuya Imai experience. No one really knows what you're in for, but it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. And he, Again, I don't think I'm ready to say he's like completely turned the corner and you'd think of him as, your number 2 starter unquestionably, because it was 3 starts ago. He went out there with a 9-0 lead and got 2 outs. So we are not very far removed from that, but stacking these 2 starts together, and also the fact he has struck out 21 guys in his past 2 starts and walked 1. He has walked 1. Like, he is throwing the ball in the zone. And he is getting hitters to swing. Sometimes they hit it. Sometimes they hit it in the gap. Sometimes he gives up hits. But they would rather that happen than him walk the ballpark like he was doing in April and in May. And it really does seem like he's a lot more comfortable. It seems like he's just more free to attack the strike zone and doesn't like have that fear of going into the strike zone. So it's been nice to see for the Astros that Tatsuya Imai has surged as 2 other members of the rotation have spiraled. And that was on back-to-back nights as Spencer Arrighetti only got 9 outs, gave up 8 runs against the Tigers on Friday, and then Kaiwei Tung comes back on Saturday, gets 11 outs. The Astros do come back to win that game, but still, there was a move today. As a result of this, there was a move today. Kaiwei Tung was optioned to AAA Sugarland. Miguel Ulloa was recalled to make his big league debut. He did not get in today, but I believe the way their bullpen's set up, he's going to pitch at some point in the next 2 days because they don't have anybody else. So real quick on the Kaiwei Tung decision. Essentially, he's tired. And you understand why. This is a guy that has not thrown more than 86 innings in a season since 2023. He has started and relieved his whole career, but since he became a reliever only, his innings workload has been down. He's not thrown more than 86 innings since 2023. It's June 28th, and he's already thrown 64 innings. And he even acknowledged after the game Saturday that the workload is affecting him, that he said through an interpreter that it is fatigue, but he believed it to be manageable. And he said he wanted to talk to the strength and conditioning coaches and just to how he can get his energy and his strength better. Well, that's going to happen at AAA Sugarland. And the reason they're sending him there, Joe Espada described it today as a deload. He's going to pitch, so it's not as if they're sending him there just to go to see the sights of Sugarland. He's going to pitch. They don't know really in what capacity yet. They don't know if it's going to be a starter. They don't know if it's going to be a reliever. But when he does pitch next, it will not be for very long, and it will not be very many pitches. They're going to have a system for him to basically like keep him fresh, keep his arm moving. But they are really wanted to taper down the workload with him, give him a breather, and hope that will help him. And when they call him back up, and they will call him back up, this is not a Ryan Weiss situation. This is not a, Rodri Munoz. This is not a situation where we're never going to see him again. He will be back up. He's got too much value to them to not bring him back up with the amount of bats he can miss, with just the overall stuff he has. I think you can really, and Joe Espada has been saying it really without saying it out loud his last 4 starts. Like, I think you can connect everything in his past 4 starts, which have not been good. You can connect it all to fatigue. And
Yeah.
I think they think once he is refreshed and once he's, given a little bit of a break, he can come back. I don't envision it being in a starter role. Again, anything you don't know what the staff will look like by the time he's ready to come back. They could need him as a starter. I don't know. But my informed speculation would be that he's going to come back in the role that he began the season in. A swingman, multi-inning guy, can be an opener if you need him to be an opener. But I think his days of being a 6 or 7 inning starter are probably over.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You're getting a lot of guys back in the rotation too, and he provides value. I mean, he just, like you said, he's just tired. I don't blame him. He threw way more earlier in the season than I think anybody anticipated, and he's been good. But yeah, I mean, he has certainly looked quite tired in the last few. So get him down to AAA, give him some time off, let him readjust to the bullpen, and he'll be back up soon, I'm sure.
So the day before Kaiwei Tung got options,
just for I've got real quick. So Tung started the season averaging 95 to 96 on his fastball. In May, when it was 94, 93. His last 4 starts, he was averaging 91, 92. So he's down 4 miles an hour on his fastball from the start of the season. That's the issue.
No, yeah. I mean, and if you watch, if you have 2 eyes and a working brain and you watched him, like, you could just tell, like, the stuff was not as good. Like, the sweeper did not have the same depth and bite. The curveball, the spin was not as good. And you can just point it all to fatigue. And they hope that going down to this Sugarland, that'll help. So they've got another very interesting decision coming up. So Christian Javier, you remember him? He's making a lot of money. He's making a lot of money. Christian Javier, there was a thought, and Joe Espada didn't commit to it, but Joe Espada said, he's a possibility to start in Detroit. They did not start him in Detroit. They started Kaiwei Tung instead. And they sent Christian Javier to make another rehab start, I should say. That in and of itself signals that there was at least some trepidation about his stuff, about how he's throwing, the quality and everything like that. So he made his 5th minor league start on Saturday in Sugarland. He threw 6 scoreless innings, 85 pitches, did not give up a ton of hard contact. I think he gave up like 3 hard hit balls the entire time. Got 11 whiffs. The fastball velo was down from his season average, but even when Christian Javier was like elite Christian Javier in 2022, like, this is not a guy that relies on velo. Like, velo can be very misleading with him. So I kind of take that all with a grain of salt. But suffice to say, he got the results that they were looking for. Joe Espada said today that that he threw the ball great, that they were very impressed with what they saw, that he worked on what they wanted him to work on, and that they were going to sit down and decide what's next for him. His 30-day rehab. So pitchers are only allowed to be on a rehab assignment for 30 days. That's the maximum a pitcher can be on one before they have to do something, before they have to activate them, or the team has to make a decision. That 30 days is up on Friday. So Friday is decision day. They're going to have to decide what they're going to do with him. They could start him on Friday. He would be on 1 day extra rest because he pitched on Saturday, so he'd be on 5 days of rest. They could start him on Friday against the Rays in the series opener. They could start Hunter Brown on Saturday. That would give him an extra day of rest because they have the off day Thursday and he pitched today, and then figure out what they're going to do Sunday. You're hearing me talk about all this and you're asking yourself, like, well, where's Spencer Arrighetti in this? So Spencer Arrighetti, as we discussed, had a very bad start in Detroit. Gave up 8 runs in 3 innings. He has now got a 9 ERA in June after winning American League Pitcher of the Month in May, which is pretty incredible.
The Tyler White Memorial Pitcher of the Month.
Spencer is within that clubhouse. Spencer is one of the most available, loquacious, and cerebral guys in there. Like, he never is lacking for answers. He's never lacking for explanations. He's always pretty positive. And I think if you've seen him on Space City, in the post-game interviews, that comes through. I don't know if you watched his post-game interview on Friday. It was dark. It was bleak. He did not really speak above a whisper. He even said, he goes, "I'm out of answers." He said, I don't know. I don't have an answer right now. I'm searching. Looked like the game has kind of beaten him up a little bit. And that happens to everybody. It's not meant to be, coming down on Spencer Arrighetti. Everyone goes through this in the sport. Like, this is a tough sport. Everyone has these cycles. So the question that the Astros are going to have to ask themselves, they don't need to go to a six-man. Like, going to a six-man rotation now is unnecessary. They have an off day on Thursday. They have another off day next week before the All-Star break. I don't think they play, more than 6 games in a row again until like the beginning of August. So they don't.
They have
need
like every Thursday off,
right,
for
like
the next 2 months.
So they don't need a six-man rotation. Could you see a scenario where Spencer Arrighetti does what Mike Burrows did in the last turn through the rotation? Maybe you see him go to the bullpen for this turn through the rotation. Maybe they start Spencer Arrighetti on Friday, start Christian Javier on Saturday, and start Hunter Brown on Sunday. But then you have both Javier and Brown going a full week between starts, which that's not like against the law. It's not like against the rules, but like, it's still that doesn't really get done a lot. And doing that,
Imai is also used to pitching on longer rest, correct?
Right,
Isn't that how
correct.
KBO? Yeah.
Yeah, they pitch the MPB is what you're thinking of.
Yes.
But they pitch every 5th day instead of every 6th day, I should say. But I think they're going to have to really ask themselves kind of how they want to construct this pitching staff, because their bullpen has 3 guys with minor league options. It's Miguel Ulloa, who just came up. It's Brian King, who is not getting optioned. And it's AJ Bluebaugh, who has thrown the most innings of any reliever on your team, has a 3.5 ERA. And if not for that one start in Colorado that he had to come in after Christian Javier got hurt warming up, and Bluebaugh gave up like 6 runs in an inning, you take that appearance out, and the ERA is even better. I don't know that they can afford to option him. And I don't know, quite frankly, that they can afford to option anybody out of their bullpen and leave it shorthanded. I don't know that they want to play a man down in the bullpen and just to keep do you see what I'm saying? That, like, even if they option Miguel Ulloa, like, they would still have a pitcher on the roster that is not doing anything. If you like, it would be either Christian Javier or Spencer Arrighetti, and one of them would have to go to the bullpen. So I guess what I'm trying to, like, the roundabout way of talking about this is, they're going to have to make a decision with either Christian Javier or Spencer Arrighetti. Do they want to maybe put one of these guys in the bullpen for a turn or two? Or there's also this, Spencer Arrighetti has minor league options remaining too. And Spencer Arrighetti started the year in the minor leagues. Do they believe that going back down there could help him figure out what's going on in June? I don't know. I have zero inside information on this. I'm just reading the roster and reading the days and knowing that this is a roster crunch that they're going to have a hell of a time trying to figure out what to do with it.
Listen, the theme of this season has been "You're the boy who cried surplus." So we'll take this one day at a time. I would imagine that this works itself out. My gut reaction is
Tyler, hold on. Like, we're talking about, like, this is like going to happen in 3 days. This isn't like we're not kicking the can down the road 3 weeks. This is like,
the season was going to start in a day, and there was an infield surplus, and look how that worked out, Chandler. Something will happen to where it is obvious who is going to go where and what happens. My gut reaction is that Christian Javier makes more sense in a bullpen role. He has a lot more experience doing that. Granted, it's been a few years, but you could see his stuff playing up. I mean, both of their stuff would play up in 1 or 2 inning stints. That's true of just about every pitcher. But I think Christian Javier's makes a little bit more sense in the bullpen. But again, I think you're going to have them start. Both of them are going to get starts in the next time around, I would imagine. And then you go from there, unless there's a fatigue issue with Arrighetti, similar to Tongue, where you just need to give him a break. But I don't think that's the issue. I think it's just been ineffectiveness, and honestly, it's been regression to the mean. Like, even in his great month of May, his expected ERA was like 3 runs over what he gave up. Like, he's not performing drastically worse than what you would expect him to be. It has been worse, but it's not like he's not Hunter Brown. It's not like you were expecting him to be a 2.5 ERA guy, and this is what he's looked like. Like, that's just what it's going to look like most of the time, somewhere in the middle of what you've seen over the last 2 months. But look, something is going to make itself obvious. I would imagine. But yeah, I mean, my initial thought is Javier. What do you think between those two? Who would make more sense in the bullpen? Because I agree with you. I don't think you can have a shorter bullpen. They're already so taxed.
I tend to agree with you that Javier
just has the injury history too. Like, I don't think you're getting 5 or 6 innings consistently from him every 5th day for the rest of the season.
Well, look, they could also pull a Mariners and just say, we're piggybacking Javier and Arrighetti every time through, and we're just going to switch who's starting the game. They could do that. There's also that possibility. They could do that this time through the rotation against the Rays this coming weekend. They could say Javier's starting the game, but Arrighetti's going to be down there and he's coming in when we say it, or vice versa. I don't know. But I'll say this, and I know no one's going to want to hear this. Christian Javier is the 3rd highest paid pitcher on this team. He's in the 4th year of a 5-year, $64 million contract extension. That in and of itself, and look, I know this is not what people want to hear, but that almost earns him a spot in the at least the ability to audition to be in the rotation. That gives him, that is his entry fee, right? That's his, you get your chance. Here's your chance, and you've got a runway because you have a contract. Like, try to figure it out. And if it works, it works. But that would be why I think, like, if it goes this way, that's why I think it would be Javier probably would get the starting nod. But that's just kind of how I think it would go. But again, like, I want to be clear here. Like, I have no inside information that this is, but there's almost no other way this can work out unless they option AJ Bluebaugh to AAA, which that would weaken this team pretty substantially.
No, they're not doing that. He pitches every day. Every time I turn on the Astros game, AJ Bluebaugh is coming in.
And pitching well,
and he's been great. Yeah. I can't believe he only has a 3.5 ERA. I mean, you remember the first month it was so rough. I mean, that's just how relievers work too, that, the ERA can fluctuate so much. But there was a month there where it was like, oh, this guy's not looking good. But I mean, yeah, you're not optioning AJ Bluebaugh. He's a guy that is most trusted, I would say, outside of the guys with defined roles like your Josh Hader and Brian King. Outside of those guys who you would like to line up in a certain way, AJ Bluebaugh is the guy that you want to bring in whenever things are scary and you need outs right now.
And look, and here's the thing, like, and I wrote this in a story, like, they could even say, like, somebody could be hurt and we don't know about it. Like, some reliever could be hurt that we don't know about. They could put him on the IL, and like, that could be the thing that gets Christian Javier on the roster. But you're still not solving the issue, because the issue will be that you are a man short in the bullpen. And I know they've got some off days built in, but I don't know that they will feel comfortable running a 7-man bullpen. And especially given the fact that Josh Hader still has some restrictions on on how much he can be used and when he can be used. Quite frankly, they are not using him unless it is a save situation or the game is tied in the 9th inning. And that doesn't, like, those are very like unique. There's a very particular situations, right? And he pitched back to back. He's only pitched back to back twice since coming off of the IL. He did it again today, and today was probably the worst outing he's had since coming off the IL. And it was the second day of a back to back, and he threw 30 pitches, which is the most he's thrown since coming off of the IL. So they're gonna have to be mindful of him. So you can't treat a 7-man bull. This 7-man bullpen is not like other 7-man bullpens, because you've got a guy in Josh Hader that you have to be very careful with. That he's not gonna get more than 3 outs, and if they can, they would like not to pitch him back to back. They will do it, and they've done it, but I think that they would prefer not to. So, in essence, there's some days you could be running a 6-man bullpen.
Yeah, the flip side is that those off days are for the bullpen too.
Right? No, 100%.
So, they're still going to have those off days as well. But yeah, I agree with you. You would like to have somebody available in the bullpen that is not in the starting rotation. But like I said, I think it will work itself out. I think, either one of those two guys that we talked about is going to have some more ineffectiveness, or somebody's hurt or something. I think it'll be clear. And the only thing I would push back on the money thing for Javier is Dana Brown didn't give him that money. Like, he doesn't think of Christian Javier in that way. Like, Jim Crane is the one signing that check. I'm right? He didn't give him that money. That was
Dana
prior
gave
to
him.
him.
That was
Did
Dana's
he?
first. That was Dana's first.
Lord.
That was Dana's first.
All right,
deal.
never mind.
That was Dana's opening salvo. He did that like within 2 months of being the GM. He gave him that contract. No, that's a Dana deal.
I forgot he's been there that long. All right.
Yeah.
Well, never mind. I retract that point.
And then, we haven't brought this possibility up either, but Mike Burrows is pitching Tuesday. And if it doesn't look good, he's got options left too. I think that's
the one that.
And they've already soft launched moving him to the bullpen. So does that magnify his start on Tuesday? Is he pitching for his spot in the rotation? Like, I don't know, but if you want to watch it, in person, if you want to watch the big Mike Burrows start in person, do we have the deal for you from SeatGeek? That's right, SeatGeek. We love them as sponsors here on the Foul Territory Network and Crush City Territory. If you're watching on YouTube, we've got the QR code up where you can use the code Territory10 for 10% off all MLB tickets at SeatGeek. Tyler, 6-game homestand coming up. They're off on Thursday, but they'll be there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I think one of those games in the Twin Series, I think it's Tuesday. I could be wrong. Go check. Go to Astros.com just to make sure. I think that's Hello Kitty night, and people go insane for Hello Kitty. I think I've realized
they do. My dad is a tour guide, and they get all of the merch and stuff, and yeah, people go nuts for the Hello Kitty. There's also a SpongeBob Day coming up at some point. I keep seeing that.
No, it's on this home
show up. SpongeBob is on the Tuesday.
SpongeBob's
Burrows
Tuesday.
Day.
Okay, so if you like SpongeBob,
so we got that, and then Hello Kitty's the next night.
Okay.
Hello Kitty night 1, so that means they're doing multiple.
Oh yeah, they sell that game out. Like no matter when they do, no matter when they do it, they sell that game out, and it's insane how much people love Hello Kitty.
Ooh, back-to-back fireworks too. You got Friday night with the Josh Hader patriotic jersey, and then Saturday is the 4th of July. And then you got Hunter Brown Diesel bobblehead on Sunday. This is a good giveaway homestand right here.
And
somebody get me the SpongeBob jersey, please. That would make Olivia quite happy. We're big fans over here.
You can make that happen if you go to SeatGeek and use the code Territory10 for 10% off all MLB tickets, and that is at SeatGeek. If you're watching on YouTube, like we said, we've got the QR code up. That's code Territory10 for 10% off your next set of MLB tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any MLB tickets with promo code Territory10. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. That's again, Territory10 for 10% off MLB tickets at SeatGeek. Like we said, the Twins will be in town for 3 from Monday to Wednesday. I think it's I forgot the rotation. I should know the rotation. I looked at it like 2 minutes ago. I forgot who's starting the first game. Let me pull it up.
Well,
It's
there's
Peter
such a
Lambert.
surplus.
Yeah, there is a surplus. You struggle to remember who's in the rotation. Peter Lambert is starting Monday's game against Zebby Matthews. Great name. Mike Burrows is going to start on Tuesday against Joe Ryan. Joe Ryan's a very good pitcher. Joe Ryan will be a very attractive trade chip for the Minnesota Twins when they decide to sell. And then Tatsuya Imai will pitch against Taj Bradley on Wednesday at Daikin Park. There will be maybe Correa will come around. Maybe we'll get Correa around a little bit because the Twins are coming to town. He can see some guys that he used to play with. The Twins, if you haven't seen Byron Buxton play in person, I would highly recommend it. He's healthy, which is rare. So get out now. Get out to see him while he's still healthy. But he's something else to watch in person. And they've got some young talent. They've got Luke Keeschel and Royce Lewis is decent. And they've got some nice young talent. But this is a Twins team that literally sold half their roster at the deadline last year, did nothing but sign Victor Caratini this offseason. That's the only offseason move they made. This is not a team that is, quite frankly, trying to win, but because they're in the American League, they're right up there. So
can they do like a, take a teeny, leave a teeny, and just let the Astros have him whenever they leave? Would that work?
What teeny do the Astros have?
Well, just take it, I guess. I mean, you let him go over there for a little bit. Now you let the Astros have him back. I think it's only fair.
He'll get a nice tribute video. I think he was really well liked here. Yeah, he was really well liked.
Yeah,
fans
great.
liked him. Teammates liked him. He's well liked. So it'll be nice to see Victor Caratini, catch up with him this week at Daikin Park, where we'll see if the Astros can maintain this run of momentum they're on. And if they do, or if they don't, we'll talk about it here on Crush City Territory. You can follow me on X at Chandler_room. You can follow Tyler at Tyler C. Stafford. Please rate and review us on Apple and Spotify. Please like the video on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and subscribe to Apple and Spotify so you can get notified anytime we post a new pod. We'll be back next week with 3 brand new episodes. Hopefully Josh Reddick will be back from vacation and he can hop on with us, one of them, but who knows? Sometimes he's hard to get a hold of. We'll see. Until we get a hold of him and until we talk to you again, thanks for listening and we'll talk to you soon.
There's a feeling I get when I look at the west, and the Astros are coming to get you. Ooh, Miguel Uyola. Ooh, Miguel Uyola. Bye.